we might get going, if that's okay with everybody. So first of all, you're all extremely welcome to this webinar and this information webinar about our CPD certificate and the foundations of AI. I am super excited. So this is just really to give people some information about what the program is about. You know, should you apply for it? Does it, you know, fit the type of course that you're looking for at the moment, and what we might cover, and what you'd expect from the program. So on the webinar today, and actually before I start about who's on the webinar, I'll just go through the agenda quickly. So we're going to have a welcome address in a few moments from Alessandra Sala from Women in AI. Then I'm going to spend a little bit of time introducing the program. We're then going to have a fantastic student who's been through the grueling 12 weeks with us, Jocelyn Castro, who's going to talk to us about her experience. Then for those of you who, after we get through all of that, are still interested, we'll talk a little bit about how you apply for the program, and then we'll go to a Q&A. Just in terms of questions, we are using Zoom webinar. I don't know if people have used Zoom webinar before. It's a little bit different to meetings. So just on the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there is a questions, a Q&A button. So in there, if you have questions, you can pop them into the Q&A. And if you have questions as we're going along, feel free to pop them in there at that time. And what we'll do is we'll answer them all at the end. So if you have general questions about the program, or you know, anything about the content of the program, anything like that, please use the Q&A. We do also have the chat function. You can use the chat function. Generally, we use it if you have any issues or any problems. You can just put something in the chat, and we have the lovely Sarah from Technology Ireland ICT SkillNet, who's managing the IT in the background, so she'll be able to help you out with any issues. And again, there's a raise your hand function, so if when we get to the Q&A section, if you do have questions, we can unmute you, so you can raise your hand and we can unmute you that way. So there's a few ways that you can interact with us when it gets time to questions. So the program was brought together through Women in AI and Ireland ICT SkillNet. It's accredited by TU Dublin, and Chrysalis, I'm from Chrysalis, and we are the delivery partner. So on the call today you have me, and by the way, I should have introduced myself before I started. So my name is Aoife Darcy, I'm CEO of Chrysalis, and we work on the program in delivering it. So if you do come on the program, seeing a lot of me and my colleagues in Chrysalis. As I said, we've Alessandra Sala on the call today from Women in AI. So Alessandra is going to do a little bit of a welcome address in a moment, so she can introduce herself then and tell you all about Women in AI. We've Professor Sarah Jane Delaney from TU Dublin, and we're really fortunate that TU Dublin actually accredit this program. So you do get a level 8 CPD accreditation for this program. So we're really grateful, and Sarah Jane is with us today as well. So if you have any questions in that regard, Sarah Jane will be able to feed them. And we are really lucky as well that Technology Ireland ICT SkillNet have supported this program from the beginning, massively in terms of pulling it together, but also in terms of their funding. So you can get grant aided funding to participate in the program, which is immensely beneficial for people. So we have Donna Boyne here, and Donna's going to talk to us about how you actually apply for the program. So without any further ado, that's everybody who we have on the call. So I'm going to hand you over to Alessandra, who is going to do our welcome address.
Thank you, Eve. It was wonderful to hear your welcome. So welcome everyone from myself on behalf of Women in AI. Women in AI is a non-profit organization. We have a chapter in Ireland, which is a very active community, and the community is meant to grow participation of female and minority in AI. And we are really focused on the talent aspect. We want to bring people that have the tools, have the knowledge, have the capabilities to be players in AI. It's a non-profit organization, not only in Ireland. We are active in 150 countries around the world, and many of our communities are facing the same issue, the low participation of female in technology, and specifically in AI. So we know the global numbers. So the World Economic Forum, McKinsey report are constantly reminding us that at the best, we have reached 22% of female participation, with an increase of 5 to 10 percentage point in the last 5 years. In terms of minority, much worse. Possibly an increase of 1% from 2% to, for example, 3% if we look at Black communities, for example. So we know that the female and minority are not integrated in the tech space and in AI as they should. But then what we realized in discussion with the government, ICT SkillNet, Chrysalis, the university in Ireland, is that not many women were taking an opportunity to participate to some of those amazing master courses, certificate level around technology, around AI. So on the other side, this technology in particular needs us. We have seen how many horrible discrimination we have faced in the last few years around Black community, people not represented properly. So we needed to take an action, and we cannot have more female and minority if we don't invest in education. And that was the core idea, coming together and try to understand what was missing. There are many, many courses online. Some of them are very high level, so they don't give us the tool. Some other are master courses or other very deep technological courses of many years, and people don't have the time. So we thought that there was a space where we could bring a contribution to many more people that are interested to upskill themselves in AI with the right level of competence. A 12 weeks program that could give people confidence of starting to master those tools, not becomes the extra super expert in the world, but really acquiring the fundamental knowledge in AI, which would enable people to undertake a new career in this field. And that was the core idea that had originated the design of this program. And I can't thank enough the government, ICT SkillNet, for supporting it since the beginning, and the excellence competence that you will find in TU Dublin and Chrysalis, who are the brain that deliver the amazing content of this program. So I really encourage each one of you, but not just you, spread the word, tell your colleagues, tell your friends that this program is for many people that wants to learn more about AI. And I'll give it back to Eve, because she has so many interesting things to tell about the program.
Remember to unmute. Thanks, Alessandra. I'm just checking you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Great, super. So brilliant. So thanks to Alessandra. So I suppose one of the things that you're probably all interested in is, well, you know, tell us a bit about the course. So this is what I'm going to talk about now, is what the actual program entails. So if we look at the program details, so first of all, it's run over 12 weeks. It's a 12-week program, and it's a part-time program. It's run mainly in the evenings. I'll talk about that. It's fully online. So obviously the program was introduced in the middle of COVID lockdown. So it started online, but we'll probably continue that in terms of it gives brilliant accessibility to people. So no matter where in the country you are, you can partake in the program. And at the end of the program, you will receive earn a level 8 CPD certificate in the foundations of artificial intelligence, and that's accredited by TU Dublin. So they're just the high level, I suppose, introductions to kind of the program. In terms of what the program actually covers, now this slide is just, you know, the idea and the term artificial intelligence, you know, is being used in so many places these days. As Alessandra said, you know, there's, you know, lots of courses out there, there's lots of information out there. So, you know, part of, I suppose, the challenge when we put together this program was that idea that we wanted to put together a taster program. So a program that gave people a good introduction into the area of AI, but as Alessandra said, wasn't kind of too high level that you didn't get your hands dirty a little bit, but also wasn't too deep that you wouldn't be able to complete in 12 weeks. So with that in mind, we've put together the program to include, I suppose, tasters. You know, I call it's a very broad taster course, where we look at all the different aspects of what you need to know in order to pursue either a career or further study in AI, to give you that kickstart. And essentially the program, the first thing we concentrate on, so when we start the program, we just, you know, start thinking about, you know, what is AI and how is it applied? So really thinking about those real world applications. We do that through some lectures. We also get some experts in. So we do some nice case studies and through some experts who are working in the field. So we do lots of kind of think about what it is and then practically how is it applied. We then move on and start thinking about, well, how do you run a project? So if I was to start an AI project in the morning, what would that look like? And we use an agile framework for this, and we work the students through and kind of explain how a project works, who the stakeholders are, what are the particular stages in a project, and what to expect from an AI project. We also talk about, during this phase, the different tools and technologies that you might come across in the space. As you can imagine, it's a hugely technologically rich space, which is a big advantage when you're working in one ways, but if you're starting out, it can seem really daunting. So we try and go through a little bit around some of those technologies. Then in terms of the core, I suppose, practical skills that we teach on the program, first of all, you're going to learn how to program in Python. Now, for those of you who haven't programmed before, if you're taking a big intake, take a breath and going, oh my God, I'm going to need to code, oh my God, to do this program. Yes, you will. Is my answer to that. But also not to worry. Okay, we start from the very beginning. So if you come to the course with programming experience or even with Python experience, okay, you know, you might find this section a little bit easier. But if you come to the program with no programming experience, and I'll talk about the supports that we have, we've lots of supports to support you through it. So don't see it as a blocker. I would see it as a definite benefit. By the end of it, you will be running Python code. Okay, how much of it you'll be writing and how many tears you'll have cried to get to that point, but you will be running Python code. We also focus on the areas of statistics and machine learning. So we do an introduction to statistics, we do an introduction to machine learning. And again, these for us are the core theoretical building blocks that you need to have in any area of AI. So whether you end up going down the route, you know, the natural language processing route or the RPA route, there's lots of different places where you can go from this program, but there's core building blocks that have to be there. So we introduce those core building blocks. We do a little bit around data visualization as well. The presentation of data is always going to exist at some point in any database project. And then we also think it's really important, and particularly it's becoming I suppose a hot topic, is the ethical considerations that you need to really think about when you're implementing AI solutions. So we don't just think about just those core technical competencies. We also think about the other overarching competencies that you need to be aware of in this space. So they're the topics that we work through, and it's really important. There's a mix of those kind of overarching, so project management, the ethics element, kind of the general applications, and then there's more technical elements of actually doing it, of actually creating AI solutions. So that's what you learn. So I suppose, how will you do it? So when we started the program, we thought it was really, really important not only to have, you know, your standard lectures. So there'll be 12 weeks of lectures, 2 evenings a week. They run on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 6:30 and 9 o'clock online. So that's the kind of classroom learning. It's very interactive. We do quizzes, we do breakout sessions. We try and get students interacting as much as we can. Also, all of your materials will be available for you on Brightspace, which is the learning portal provided to us from TU Dublin, and it's a brilliant resource. So all of your lectures, any references, videos of your lectures, everything will be up and will be available through Brightspace. And I know people have found that a really, really useful resource over both iterations of the program. So they're kind of your kind of standard lectures and how you access the material. But for us, it's really, really important that everybody kind of feels supported to the program. And to do that, we have 2 main mechanisms. So first of all, everybody will have at least 2 one-to-one mentoring sessions. And we also do drop-in support clinics. So this is where, and particularly for possibly people who are coming to the program without a massive background in technology or in programming, and those support clinics are there to really assist you when, you know, you're trying to install a Python package and it's not working. There's somebody there to go, this is how you do it. Okay, so there's somebody there to support you through that. And in terms of making the course as accessible as possible, we thought that was really, really important, and those sessions have worked really well. And then in terms of what you need to complete, so I suppose, you know, the first 4 points are kind of what we deliver. Then in terms of your job, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to complete a capstone project, and we will start about that from week 1. Jocelyn's going to come on and talk about her experience, and she'll remember me harping on about her capstone project all the way through the program. It's really, really important because we see it as the opportunity for every student to delve a little bit deeper. So as I said, it's a taster course. So we go through lots of the theory and what's required in that AI space, or the skill sets acquired in that AI space, in kind of a very quick kind of about a 10-week period. And then we give you 2 weeks to pick a topic or pick an area and do a project to allow you to delve a little bit deeper into a particular topic and hone in on particular skills that you want to develop. And I suppose that's something that we're, you know, I'm very passionate about, is that everybody has the opportunity to kind of own their own learning journey, to pick their own project, to develop a piece of AI or an AI solution that is meaningful to them, that allows somebody to take this as a starting point in their AI journey and move from it, and to really use the project to give you that kind of, I call it, it's like a kind of a launch pad, and to really work on that, and that we're there to support you. And then the final piece that we do is you complete a reflective learning journal. Now, when we were putting together the program, and I will have been a skeptic, I'll perfectly put my hands up and go, reflective practice, what's all that about? And I suppose one of the benefits that I see it, you know, really, really helping the students is because, and I'll talk about the different types of learners that are attracted to the program, because we have such diversity in the learner type, that everybody's really on their own individual learning journey, and people use both the project and that reflective learning journey, I think, to own their own learning journey. So people come from different starting points, they want to get to different endpoints. So, and people, both of those items, so your project and your journal, allow you to own it a little bit. And while I would have been very skeptical, I can actually, having been through 2 iterations of the program now, I think actually the reflective journal really helps students to really own their own journey and to think about what it means to them. And it forces people to really consider that as they're working through the program. So, should I take this program? So now you have a little bit of an idea, hopefully, on what we cover. Just the type of students, and I suppose this kind of slide reflects the types of students who we've had on the program the last 2 iterations. So we have some students who have completed a qualification recently, like in the last 2 or 3 years, and think that AI might be something that will complement what they're doing, or in some cases they actually want to pivot. They want to completely change their career path, and they want to use this as a starting point, or to see if AI is an area that they want to kind of, you know, swap their career into. We also have people who've been working in a technical area, so maybe in IT for a number of years, and kind of feel that there's an area of expertise, so around AI or sometimes Python programming, where, you know, they haven't had any official training in it. They can see it possibly becoming part of their role, and they just want to upskill in that area. We've also had a number of students who are returning to the workplace, who have taken a career break for different reasons and want to upskill in order to update their CV in re-entering the workplace. And we also have had a number of students who, what I'd say, are leaders or managers in their workplace, and they've seen their roles kind of change into a leadership role where AI is becoming more and more important, and they want to upskill so as they can lead their teams. And while they possibly won't be the people who will be actually doing the development of the AI solutions, they might be, you know, be stakeholders in terms of supporting projects, or it may be their teams who are doing it, and they just want to make sure that they have the skill sets to be able to assist them as much as possible. So I suppose they're the types of learners, and as you can see, it's massively diverse. It's people who are starting their career, people who are quite developed in their career, people who are possibly looking to change and make a bit of a change in their career. So the way the program is designed, and the way that we, I suppose, facilitate people starting at different points, I suppose, in their career journey or in their AI journey, it kind of works quite well. I suppose the nice thing about this as well, the learning group is very diverse. It's diverse in age, it's diverse in gender, it's diverse in where people are, and I think that's actually been massively beneficial, because you've people with lots of different experiences, so that peer-to-peer learning has just been really, really excellent over the first 2 cohorts. So with that in mind, talking about our fantastically diverse learning group, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I also will note that I can see there are a couple of questions in the Q&A, and we do have time at the end for the Q&A session. So when we get to that, we will go to those. So hopefully that's okay for the people who have put some questions into the Q&A. And I'm going to stop sharing now. And we have the fantastic Jocelyn Castro. So first of all, actually, Jocelyn, I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you for this invitation to share my experience in the course. My name, as you know, is Jocelyn Castro. 38 years old. I'm from Chile, and to me, the experience of participating in this course and completing it was absolutely fantastic. It's been of great help in my personal career.
Brilliant. So, Jocelyn, I suppose first question is, what made you choose the course? So,
well, I had recently relocated to Ireland before I took the course, and I was in between jobs. So at the moment when I received the invitation to take the course, when I heard of it, I was trying to realign my career with the actual needs of the country of Ireland. So as you know, Dublin is becoming slowly kind of the Silicon Valley of Europe, and to me, the hard skills that are kind of the new transferable skills in a way are actually Python and data visualization and statistics, especially with the digital transformation that all companies are having right now. These skills are needed across all industries. So for me, it was definitely a big step, because these were skills that I especially Python, I had no idea. I was a complete beginner, and it's actually not that difficult.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jocelyn. And I suppose in terms of the program, and I suppose let's get the hard stuff out of the way. What was your biggest challenge?
Oh, the biggest challenge was for certain the capstone project, and that was basically the topic that I had to struggle throughout the course, because I became too optimistic or too enthusiastic about it. So in a way, now that I'm looking back at it, I feel that I was kind of trying to rediscover the wheel in a way. The scopes of the projects that I had in mind were just too large, and I had just too many objects that I wanted to tackle with them. Well, this course is actually introductory, so that's something that I learned. It's preferable to have a smaller project or a project with 1 or 2 objectives that you're able to complete before, and not necessarily thinking of all the possibilities. AI also has limitations, and this is a kind of a teaser course that's going to give you the skills, but not all the skills, and that's something that you can certainly pursue later on if you become in love, or you get in love with artificial intelligence. You could certainly pursue it. It's a great stepping stone.
Fantastic. And I suppose with that in mind, that's a great answer. And I know I suppose I'm always encouraging people to think big and to go for it. And you know, as you say, one of the things is then, you know, within projects being able to go, well, I have 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, what can I fit into that time period? So
exactly, I think that we have to think very strategically in terms of time, because it's a very short course, so you're obviously going to have your work or your life at home, and many times you need to be very strategic in terms of time to dedicate reviewing time, dedicate time to review your material and to practice, especially practice.
And then what was your biggest highlight? What did you most enjoy?
Well, I definitely learned a lot in the course. I mean, first of all, it's a professional certificate, so that's very good. But also, the course in itself, it's very ambitious, but totally doable. So it is well structured. You have live sessions. And before taking this course, I took some other online courses. And this is definitely not that you're going to sit in front of your computer or laptop and that you're going to be watching a video. No, in this case, there will be live interaction. There will be one-on-one mentoring sessions. There will be assignments, workshops, teamwork. And this is all in particular, and this was important for me. You will get actually the high standards that you would expect from higher education. Other courses just don't really offer this, and certainly you will find here that you need to get to those standards. Plus, the topics are very interesting. You're going to be reviewing some calculus, statistics, different models, and also learning Python and using Tableau for data visualization. So with this, I can totally say there's a practical application in any line of business. So even if you learn a bit about these tools, probably you learned from, you know how to use them before, or if you're learning now, it's still great.
Super. And just last but not least, I suppose if somebody was advice.
I have several pieces of advice. The first one, I would say that if you intend to pursue this course, try to think of a project as soon as possible. And unlike me, try not to rediscover the wheel. Try to have a small project or a smaller project with 1 or 2 objectives, and allow yourself, because in that way, as soon as you're able to get your MVP, you're going to have more time to understand more of your data set, and it would actually give you some more time to explore beyond if you feel like. So that would be one. Another one would be knowing your limitations and try to tackle them beforehand. So for instance, if your limitation would be time, try to if you're going to pursue the course, try to allow some time specifically to actually review the material and to practice. Or for instance, if your limitation is that you're scared of coding, because that's what happened to me, allow yourself some time to actually practice and how to write. All the material will be online on Brightspace, and that's fantastic. And also you will have help from the Chrysalis team. Finally, patience and ask for help. Patience, because if there's something that the course will teach you apart from these hard skills, is resilience. There will be a lot of times where there will be frustration, but there will also be little triumphs, and you have to celebrate those little triumphs, especially in my case when I was coding. But also something that I would do differently is to actually ask for more help. Again, the whole Chrysalis team will be there to help you, but also there will be your classmates. And that's something that's very easy to overlook, I would say. Don't be scared of engaging with your classmates, because as Aoife said, they bring different backgrounds and different experiences. And the more you share those experiences, actually, the more that you will learn. So I hope that my experience can actually motivate you to pursue this course, because it's fantastic. And I would certainly do it again if I had the chance.
Oh, super. Thanks a million, Jocelyn, and thanks. And hopefully that was useful for people. And Jocelyn, by the way, is going to stay on the call. So for the Q&A, she'll be here to answer any of your questions if you have questions for Jocelyn. So thanks a million, Jocelyn. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Donna Boyle from Technology Ireland ICT Skills Net.
So the first step is to send us a copy of your CV. So I'll review your CV and determine if you're an eligible candidate. So when I say eligible candidate, so we're delighted to be able to part fund the programme for eligible candidates, and that would mean anyone working in private or commercial semi-state organisations registered in Ireland. So once I kind of do my screening, I will get in touch with TU Dublin. Then the next step is to make a formal application with the college, which again, I'll take you through step by step. And as you can see on the screen, there are a few different things that you will need is your CV, cover letter, passport and your transcripts. And a piece of advice I would say is if you don't have your transcripts to hand now, I would start seeking to try and get them, because it can take some time to get them from your college, which will delay your application, and the application can't be reviewed until it's fully complete. So I would say to get kind of a head start on that if you need to. And then once the application is complete, TU Dublin will review it, and then they'll be in touch then to let you know if you've been successful. So two ways you can actually get your CV to us. You can email it to us directly at info@ictskillnet.ie, or if you want to pop onto our website, on the programme page, there's a little button there to submit your CV, and you can upload it to us that way as well. So yeah, that's really it.
Now we are going to go just to questions, and I suppose I'll open these to the panel depending on the questions. So there's a number of questions in the Q&A. So I'll just go down through them. And then if anybody has any other questions, you can either use the raise your hand or just type in questions into the Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing. Nope, I've stopped sharing. So Brian asked, where are graduates of this, sorry, actually, first question. How does this sort differ from the UL pre-MSc cert, which is more suitable for AE naive applicants? I would say this is probably a softer introduction and possibly covers, we would do a number of topics at a high level and probably get you a little bit further in terms of, you know, developing basic machine learning models than the certification. The cert is designed really to giving people the depth, and particularly the mathematical depth in, you know, the area of AI, and with the view to kind of going on to doing the masters. So I would say this is probably not as deep in some of the topics and probably covers slightly more topics than that cert. I hope that answers your question, Brian, and both very valid. And I know there are a couple of students who have done this course who are considering going on to start that AI Masters in September. So where have graduates gone from this cert? So I know Jocelyn is working on her own stuff at the moment. And I don't know, Don, if you want to come in on Brian's question about the difference between our course and the AI cert.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Aoife, the foundations is more of like an introductory and kind of to people who didn't have a background necessarily in AI. But the cert in UL does act as a lovely stepping stone. So as you said, there's people interested in going onto the cert, which then they transfer into the masters. And so it kind of does bridge that little gap if people aren't kind of committed to jump straight into the 2-year masters. It's a nice little stepping stone into it as well.
Thanks, Donna. And Brian's next question is the course fully delivered in the evenings? So the lecture element of it is the one-to-ones we can schedule during the day. We can do them in the evenings as well. We have a couple of extra sessions that we've added. They're not core material, so we did one in NLP, which we delivered on Saturdays, but that was extra material only for those who are interested. Everything is recorded, so you can look back over it. So yeah, so the lectures will be recorded and available to view. So the next question is, I am in a leadership role where I manage teams who are responsible for AI workflow automation. Is this course something that someone with very little experience coding could pick up? So I would say yes. So we've had a number of kind of leaders, and the person who answered that question, feel free to kind of email me. And personally, I'd be more than happy to have kind of a call or conversation with you about it, go into a little bit more detail. But we have had people, and I suppose what people have found beneficial is that while it's highly unlikely you're going to go back into your role and start developing and writing Python code, having an appreciation of how those projects work, of having run, you know, like a small project yourself, gives you an appreciation and probably helps you manage those projects better and get a better understanding of the technologies and the system. So possibly, you know, when you're making those decisions around the types of systems you're going to put in place, it can help you with that. And I know people in similar roles to yourself have found that really beneficial, that part of the program. While, you know, you're probably not going to go on and become a programmer, it'll help you, I suppose, communicate and work better with your teams who possibly will be programming. So I hope that answers your questions. So Raphael asked a question there. I understand the lectures that we delivered online twice a week. Yes, they are recorded and you can refer to them after they're delivered. Absolutely. So somebody's asked some examples of the capstone projects. So great question. So there's a few different types of projects. We kind of put them into 3 main categories. So one are what I would call kind of data science projects. So this is where somebody takes a data set and does some analysis and asks some questions, generally doing some statistical analysis and some visualization in something like Tableau. So taking like the COVID data set. So somebody looked at what was recently looked at what was the economic impact for different countries on the various different COVID restrictions that they applied. So what I would call a kind of a data science, where you're taking a large data set, answering some questions using statistics and visualization. Then some people do what I call a more predictive machine learning type project. So you might be predicting the quality of wine, or predicting what are the projects people done, predicting demand in a bike scheme, predicting how people are going to reply to a marketing campaign. So standard prediction models using machine learning techniques and Python, some machine She learned techniques like decision trees and regression models, and using Python code to accomplish that. And then some people have used, and Jocelyn's project was like this, where I would say you kind of use some kind of pre-built AI tools out there. So using things like, you know, the Twitter API to download tweets and then do some sentiment analysis on it. Or some people went as far as doing image classification on Lego bricks. Somebody else did classifying emotion in sound. So when people talking and seeing if you classify emotion. I know, Jocelyn, I love your face. I had that face when I said, can I do this? And I went, yes, you can. So, you know, the projects are really diverse, and it's really for people, and we encourage people to think about, and this is where the one-to-ones are really important. What are your objectives? Where do you want to go? And to really build the project around that. So the person identifying Lego bricks really wanted to use TensorFlow, which is a part of Python. So he was like, I want to do this. I went, okay. So yeah, so that's that. So Jocelyn, Sharon has a question for you in terms of commitment and time for question in terms of commitment and time for the research and the projects. So I'd say that was somebody asking what was the time commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, typically in my course, there were two sessions per week of about 3 hours each time, but that's definitely not enough. Those are the lectures. I would say if you could allow same amount of time 2 times per week, if you can, that would be ideal. But it all depends on how, if these topics are new to you or not. If they're new to you, obviously you're definitely going to need some more practice, and probably trying to review more material. So more time would be best. But if these topics are not new to you, if you're already developing or if you're already coding, maybe you don't really need much time. However, it's still very doable. It's you're going at your own pace, so you're definitely going to notice when you're going to need to invest more time in a certain topic. Maybe you're going to need it for statistics, or maybe it's going to be in prediction models or in machine learning, or it's going to be in when you're learning Python. So you will see, but overall, I would say that if you can dedicate at least some 3 hours per week as a starting point, especially at the beginning, for sure, that would be very helpful.
Terry also asked if can you follow on to the masters assuming you achieve a relevant mark. So I'd say, Terry, yes, and I suppose part of the idea of this course is to give you a taster to see whether or not, because it's only 12 weeks, you know, whether or not you want to take on the commitment. So it'll give you a good idea as to whether or not, you know, you think that the masters is something you want to do. But definitely if you get through the program, you know, as Jocelyn said, we cover a lot in 12 weeks. So if you can stick with it, you know, and achieve a good mark, you're probably well set up to take on the masters. But again, we can discuss that with you in the one-to-one mentoring, and we have contacts on the different masters programs. So I'm going to take 2 more questions. So would it be a suitable follow-on course to a certain emerging digital technologies? Somebody's asked. I think it just depends on where you want your career to go. If during that course you kind of looked at some areas of AI and it really piqued your interest and you thought, God, yeah, you know, in terms of the emerging technologies, that AI was one that you found really interesting, I'd say it's definitely a good stepping stone from there, you know, just depending on, because I suppose when we look, emerging technologies are much broader, and we think, you know, digital transformation, those kind of wider topics, that AI is kind of a slice of that. But definitely if the AI component of that kind of piqued your interest, I'd say it's definitely worth considering. Last question, I was wondering to know if I can attend this course and then continue registering on other master's courses on ICT Skills Nest program. Donna, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, So yeah, there's no limits to the amount of courses that you can apply for. So once you're eligible, so like that you're working in private or commercial semi-state. But yeah, so there's no kind of caps on the amount you can take. Like as you were saying, many people do progress then onto the masters in artificial intelligence. So yeah, apply for as many as you wish.
Brilliant, super. Now, I know there are some other questions. I'm really sorry we're not going to get to them, but you can get us at info@chrysalis.ie. So you can pop off questions there, or Donna, the IC.
Yeah, you can put any questions into info@ictskillnet.ie.
Yeah, so any of your questions will be answered there. So either ourselves or Donna will get back to you with any questions. So lastly, I just want to thank, first of all, my panelists. So Jocelyn, thank you for giving up your time. We really appreciate it. And so glad to hear all your positive feedback about the programme. And then to Donna, Alessandra, Sarah Jane, thank you so much as ever. And also Sarah, who's been our technical support. Thanks, Sarah. You've kept us up and going, and kept the show on the road, which is great. So really appreciate is also everybody attending today and all of the questions. It was great to see, so many questions. And like that, if you have any questions about the program, anything, please reach out and ask us. Excellent. Thanks a million, guys. Thanks everybody for attending, and thank you to my panelists. And we leave it there for today.